As you no doubt have noticed, this month has been following a certain loose theme, that of film adaptations based off of well-known children's anime. Today, though, we're going to be challenging the notion of well-known and children's. Yes, Escaflowne, the best example of an anime title overcoming the dredges of its initial US release. Now, for those of you who might not know, or were fortunate enough to miss it completely, the vision of Escaflowne, a 26-episode series originally ran in 1996, was repackaged as a kids show for Fox by Saban Entertainment in August of 2000. It was cancelled in 10 episodes, which is a shame because one more and it would have beat the spread. I remember being a 10-year-old lad watching this weird show I knew nothing about and actually being kind of entertained by it, almost in spite of itself. You see, Saban heavily edited the footage to the point of even dropping the entire first episode. Among these changes, they omitted some of the Yoko Kanno composed music for generic techno, the Philistines. Scenes were also altered for violence, for runtime, and sadly to appease a boy-centric demographic. Yup, they took a hatchet to the scenes centering around the main character simply because she was a girl. This is like re-editing Sailor Moon to make it about Tuxedo Mask. And yet, with all of the drastic changes to the series, some quality entertainment managed to shine through. What music they didn't scrub out was enchanting, as per Kanno's usual. The setting was unlike anything I'd ever seen in a cartoon at that time, and, well, the titular Escaflowne was kinda badass to me. So, yeah, despite Saban taking a pair of hedge clippers to it, I remember liking the show well enough. And despite its cancellation, I don't think I was the only one. Bandai was quick to release the first few unedited episodes of the show on DVD in October of 2000, just 2 months after the Fox Kids debacle. Cut to 16 years and a successful Kickstarter project later, minus some hiccups regarding tobacco rewards, and we have a Blu-ray release of not only the entire series, but also the 2000 movie. Despite the monumentally boneheaded decision to try and turn Escaflowne into a kids show, the property has emerged on the other side perfectly clean. For the most part. While the series has aged pretty damn well, all things considered, there's still the matter of the film, a retelling of the television series, which should be setting off everyone's red alert right about now. What's more, it seems that longtime director Kazuki Akane took one look at what Saban did to the series in the States and said, "Hold my beer." Every problem that was immediately obvious in the Saban cut is present and accounted for in the film, save for the sanitized violence. They left the blood and gore well enough alone. But considering what they did to the story, the fact that it has blood is just casting pearls before swine. And if that weren't enough, they decided to change quite a few characters, and all for the worse. You'll soon see what I mean. This is Escaflowne the movie. Or A Girl in Gaia if you're feeling nasty. We begin with some gorgeously realized shots of the landscape of Gaia. Let it be said that despite whatever misgivings they may have with this movie, none of them fall on the visuals or the animation, as they are both exemplary of the time. Still, the peaceful air is shattered by a Black Dragon Clan dirigible carrying a massive robot, the eponymous Escaflowne. The Black Dragons have been carrying a campaign of conquest across Gaia, but resistance has not waned yet, not while Lord Vaughn draws breath, and takes ludicrously unnecessary risks. Look, I know he's alright, but why in the world did they have Vaughn make that halo drop onto that crow's nest, if not to strike a superhero pose, especially since the movie itself established that he can fly! And boy does he, as he cleaves through the Black Dragon guardsmen like they were nothing, while the movie makes it painfully obvious that he's doing this alone.
It's just one enemy. You idiots! He's alone! Impossible. It's one against many.
No! How could we fall against one single, solitary, lone individual who was unaided and didn't have anyone with him? Did I mention he flew this solo? While Lord Vaughn is lapping up all the solo XPs, we return to Earth to find our heroine Hitomi moping on top of her school.
Why not drop in on our club?
I can't.
Why not?
Well, 'cause I dropped out of the track team. I'd feel weird.
Hey, they miss you a whole lot.
I'd feel awkward. Besides, my leg hurts.
How pathetic.
Yes, I am.
I'm sneaky and a wimp.
Oh, just wonderful. What giant robot anime is complete without our Shinji analog? As stated before, the television series aired back in 1996, a full week after Eva completed its original run. Now, having 4 years to catch up to Anno's beat, we see Hitomi morph from an albeit milquetoast audience proxy to a dour, self-pitying, insufferable teenager. Even her best friend takes her suicide note and admonishes her for her lacking vocabulary.
I'll spend my life here till I'm an old granny. I'll stay where I am for the rest of my life.
Oh dear sweet Jesus, how could I ever stop myself from getting invested in this compelling character? Maybe if I just stared at this piece of lint cotton my shirt. That's the stuff. I just don't understand why they made such a drastic change to Hitomi's character. Sure, you could boil her role down to being an entirely transparent means to explain the outlandish world of Gaia to the audience, but it's not like she doesn't serve that purpose here. Now it's that she's an audience proxy, and she's obnoxious. Further, these changes don't amount to anywhere near a satisfying character arc for Hitomi. But we'll get to that. In the meantime, during Hitomi's many diatribes on wanting to fade away, she is suddenly struck with what I like to call Macross as what?
You okay?
Beautiful and sad is this story I tell.
This is actually quite apropos because not only is Escaflowne's creator and head writer Shoji Kawamori the guy who created Macross, but he originally pitched it to Sunrise using Macross as a counterpoint. If Macross was robotic mecha and love songs, why not a story about robotic mecha and divining powers? Which is why in the movie, Hitomi has no divining powers. Patience! Patience. The stirring of echoes has Hitomi wondering what in the world is going on, and when a cloaked Lord Falcon beckons her to follow him to Gaia, she winds up doing just that, emerging in the cockpit of Escaflowne, which, by the way, is about to come crashing down thanks to the rest of the Resistance. Parachute fall! You can escape a goddamn nuclear blast if you just tucked your head.
See how their legs broke? That's because they didn't use the parachute fall.
After all that commotion, Escaflowne finally rises, to basically wharf up Hitomi like it just had a bad night in Tijuana.
Do you happen to be the wind goddess?
No she isn't. I mean, she never was in the series. She was just a girl who liked to play with tarot cards and then slowly developed divining powers over her stay in Gaia. Here, no such interest or powers. Oh, but wait, now she's the wing goddess, which I suppose means she's the super special? Yeah, I don't get the change either, if not just to distinguish itself from the series. Which then raises the perfectly valid question of why they made this film to begin with. And with that, Escaflowne spirits away, leaving only a gem for Hitomi to keep. This causes Vaughn to go from willing subject to threatening accuser. Luckily, Alan, the leader of the Resistance, arrives to calm Vaughn's tits. And that's all he does in the movie! Yup, since there's no Susumu in the movie, Alan's presence is muted to the point of wonderment. And since there's no romantic chemistry at all between him and Hitomi, and no Princess Marlene to boot, there's no reason why he himself should be here. It just feels like he's here because he has to be here. Except he doesn't. Which you'll find to be a running theme of the movie. The sudden appearance of the rest of the Resistance, including Hans Moleman here, causes Hitomi to pass out, only to wake up later on the move.
Why don't you start by telling me your name?
Okay. Hitomi. Hitomi Kanzaki.
Hitomi. Hitomi? Sounds cute. Nice name. Pleased to meet you. I'm called Malerna.
Bullshit, you're Malerna! She doesn't even look remotely like she does in the series. Why the sudden change? And why is she the only character to get the change? I mean, Lord Falcon here doesn't have the same hairstyle as in the series, but at least you can recognize him as Lord Falcon. Ain't nobody recognizing Malerna here. It just comes off as needless and weird. Oh, and speaking of needless, Malerna's another character in this movie that doesn't do anything. God, this film is collecting useless characters like skee-ball tickets. While Hitomi struggles to get her bearings, Vaughn's childhood friend Merle tries to play peacekeeper between her and Vaughn, saying he's really a good man and that he is just struggling with the loss of his people and kingdom.
Lord Vaughn was destined to become a king. Even though his country and people are gone, he is destined to fight his enemies as long as he lives. That is the destiny of one who is born as a future king. But deep down, he's a very kind and gentle person.
Sure, he's a little rough around the edges, but he means well. It's just that he has a tough time showing his emotions. Like the time he threatened you with a 3-foot katana. That's just his way of saying he thinks you're pretty. The relative peace is shattered when Black Dragon forces arrive and surround the caravan. Enter Delandau and Jijuka.
Lord Delandau, we must make this plan work.
I know. All we need to do is snatch the wind goddess, correct? But while we're at it, why don't we just kill them all?
The Abaharaki are strong fighters. We may lose too many of our soldiers by ignoring the order.
Could you tell that Delandau was always my favorite character? Delandau was always a psychotic little worm, the kind of role Greg Ayers used to cut his teeth on once upon a time ago, and I loved him to bits. Then he turned out to be the brainwashed sister of Alan because Kawamori couldn't leave well enough alone. Well, here in the movie, there is no such baggage for the character. Of all the changes the movie made to the series, this is the only one that I agree with. Just let Delandau be Delandau, even though no general in his right mind would ever let Delandau take charge of a PTA meeting, let alone an entire infantry. Ah yes, who better to lead your troops into battle than a bloodthirsty psychopath who gives your commands the finger because it doesn't leave a high enough body count to quench his murder boner. Brilliant! So the battalion ambushes the caravan, leading Alan to play Dynasty Warriors and slaughter a bunch of nameless goons. Meanwhile, Hitomi gets kidnapped and Vaughn pursues.
Nukoshi! Oh, I hit the wrong target.
Jesus, how far away was that hyena man from Delandau? Dan Marino couldn't throw a spiral like that. Unfortunately, Vaughn knew that hyena man somehow, and Delandau, being a murdering little shit, has caused him to use the pain of loss and blow up Delandau's horse.
Bucking Bronco, it's how the West was won.
Woo! Look at all that horse meat! It's like somebody tipped over an entire aisle of Tesco burger patties.
Oh, come on, a horse meat joke? Is this 2013?
Well, if it were, you'd be able to see what finger I'm holding up right now.
Is it your middle finger?
No! Shut up! The two have a spat, causing the entire ground to give way, but luckily Vaughn can be Hitomi's demon and her angel. So, over the course of the story so far, the entirety of Hitomi and Vaughn's interactions have been this. Initial confusion, anger, exasperation, sudden soulmates. Could this be more forced and erratic? The two characters barely exchanged lines when they first met each other, and almost none since, and we're supposed to buy this scene where Vaughn captures Hitomi while held aloft by his gigantic angel wings as romantic? Oh, Delandau has angel wings because of his dragon blood lineage. Because, as we all know, dragons, angels, they got everything to do with each other. So now Hitomi cares for Vaughn, because he's dark and a loner and her love can change him.
Why, Vaughn? Why are you so hurt?
Because he got stabbed in the chest by Delandau in a fight that you witnessed not 2 minutes ago. What, were you distracted by a fly? Because Hitomi sucks, all she could do is just plead with Vaughn to stop bleeding, until Chichuka appears and says that Vaughn is full of sorrow because he faces his battles alone, and oh Christ, we're back in Donovan territory!
I will stay with him until he realizes he's not alone.
So, to cure his sorrow, born from his loneliness, you're gonna stay with him until he isn't sad anymore, and then you're gonna leave him alone. What kind of back-assward manipulative bullshit is this? Meanwhile, Delandau Calrissian tritely prostrates himself in front of Lord Falcon, to which he responds by breaking his fingers like Kit Kat bars.
Delandau, your will is extremely strong, so I will give you a new power.
Your will to undermine my authority to quench your bloodlust is strong. So here's a gigantic robot to fuck even more shit up. Why is Falcon letting Delandau fail upward? Hold on, why is he reporting to Falcon anyway? I thought Delandau answered to Emperor Dornkirk. No, wait, where is Emperor Dornkirk? Where is the entire Zybok Empire? Well, they're not here. Yep, the main antagonist of the series, curiously absent from the movie. Now, for those of you wondering if there's no Zybok Empire, then why in the world is Falcon still an antagonist? Well, don't worry, they explain it. Meanwhile, somehow, Hitomi managed to drag Vaughn all the way to this remote village to heal themselves up. I'm guessing they got a sympathy ride from Jijuka, but your guess is as good as mine. An hour into this nearly hour-and-a-half movie. I suppose now is as good as time as any to have our leads actually interact with each other like real human beings.
We are kindred spirits, Vaughn. Oh, Vaughn, don't you see? So please, just let me be by your side. I want to be with you.
Okay, why? Why do you want to be with Vaughn? Because from the audience point of view, Vaughn is quick to anger and threats, and he has shown no interest in you or anything else other than his own misery. Look, I understand that all of this is common for the trope, but this is why said trope is awful. It breeds lazy writing. We all know that the two of them are destined, but instead of letting their relationship mature and change as time progresses, we have to put up with Vaughn being a hot-tempered jerk who's just waiting for the right girl to come around and guide him out of his shell. Not only does this hamstring both characters, who were both previously proactive and not the least bit troubled, for lack of a better term, but it also robs the audience of the chance to get invested. But while both characters get shafted, writing-wise, Hitomi takes the brunt of the damage. Again, 1 hour into the movie, and Hitomi has done nothing proactive. At all. She was led to Gaia, she passed out in front of the rebels, got herself kidnapped, and then maybe got Vaughn to this village, but since we never see it, it might as well not have happened. At least in the series, she had agency and had a reason to be on the front lines with Vaughn thanks to her psychic powers that she used to help him in battle. But here, she's just a teenager way over her head who latches onto a moody handsome guy because... reasons. Hey, remember that scene in Cowboy Bebop where Jet visits his old flame and then she bursts out in tears, screaming at him about the life that she wanted to live?
When I was there with you, I never had to do anything for myself. All I had to do was to hang on to your arm like a child without a care in the world. I wanted to live my own life, make my own decisions, even if they were terrible mistakes.
This is exactly what she was talking about. God, that episode is so underrated. Well, now that Vaughn is instantly better, we cut immediately to Hitomi and Vaughn infiltrating a Black Dragon Clan-controlled city. Way to have that shit on lock, guys!
It's enchanting.
If you're gonna have a couple of cat girls dance in your anime, there's better music to choose from. The two manage to meet back up with the rest of the resistance, and finally Dryden enters the picture, fleeting though his presence is. He asks what their plan of attack is, and surprise, surprise, it all hinges on Escaflowne. But apparently there's a legend stating that the world will be destroyed by Escaflowne, and now Hitomi isn't sure if she's here to save Gaia, or destroy it in a lame attempt to parallel her initial suicidal thoughts and actions.
Wing Goddess.
Who is it?
Wing Goddess. Please choose the path of Gaia's destruction, so that all suffering will cease to be.
If all life were to end in Spira, all suffering would end.
I can get what they're trying to do, and theoretically this could have had some deep resonance, but the execution is just a mess. Contrasting Hitomi's want to disappear and end herself with the possibility of her ending all life on Gaia with Lord Falcon is, in a phrase, completely castrated by her wet fart of a relationship with Vaughn. What has caused her to see the value in her own life and the lives of others? She emotionally attached herself to a distant, violent man because he's dark and mysterious. Either that, or it's simply because she was tired of her world always being the same, and now that she's found Gaia, she has some excitement in her life. She's either a needy little schoolgirl, or an entitled, easily bored brat. No matter how you slice it, Hitomi is awful. Just in the nick of time to save us all from a prattling, crawling, and slow death from overwrought, fatalistic dialogue, Landau descends in his new toy and proceeds to Godzilla his way through the town. Despite Hitomi's protestations, Escaflowne finally materializes again, and Vaughn suits up for battle.
You summoned it, didn't you? You have to believe it won't destroy the world, or Gaia is lost forever.
1. No, she didn't. Escaflowne appeared despite Hitomi, not because of her. 2. How in the world do you know that her believing in anything will have any bearing on what Escaflowne does? Because from where I'm sitting, Escaflowne couldn't give two shits. At the very least, the fight between Landau and Vaughn is appropriately earth-shaking and exciting, helped along by Yoko Kanno's score. It's just a shame that the story leading up to this fight is such a mishandled mess. Alas, the fight causes Vaughn to go into blood frenzy, and the Escaflowne gets a bitching new paint job. But here, 77 minutes into the movie, Hitomi finally does something proactive and reaches through to Vaughn, breaking him from his path of destruction and waking the White Dragon, all to confront Lord Falcon. So, about that, okay. Why is Lord Falcon this fatalistic dude that wants to get a hold of Escaflowne to destroy everything again?
In my country, an oracle determines which child of the king will be heir to the throne. The signs indicated it was me, not my brother.
Because of that?
As the sole survivor of my people, I must kill my brother and avenge my clan.
Oh, that's why? He's pissed that he isn't king? Fuck you! He destroys his own family's kingdom, meanwhile presumably founding his own kingdom with blackjack and hookers, and now wants to see Vaughn dead because he was the favorite. Not because of shame or aligned ideology, like in the series, but because he too is a spoiled little brat. No wonder he thinks he and Hitomi have so much in common.
I was like him. I thought there was nothing. That I was alone. That I couldn't feel the pain and sorrow of others.
That is why you came to this world. You responded to my call.
But I have changed.
I have changed because, the plot says so. Hitomi and Vaughn try to talk Falcon down, embracing non-violence and forgiveness as a means to cure sorrow, and it might have succeeded if not for Jujuka coming out of nowhere and killing Falcon. Well, that was all pointless, wasn't it? And because this universe operates under Castlevania rules, the entire building crumbles and our heroes barely make an escape, as well as Landau.
The mighty Black Dragon Empire has crumbled. Where shall we go now? Well, there's always another war to fight.
And more senseless atrocities to commit. Come, boys, let's ride! And we end our story with Hitomi finally spiriting away back to Earth after she and Vaughn vow to be together. The end. Yeah, this movie doesn't work. I mean, really doesn't work. If there's one lesson we've learned over the course of Anime Abandon's run, it's that film remakes of established television series is about as good an idea as a mayonnaise popsicle, and movies like Galaxy Express 39 and Escaflowne are the reasons why. Because, in the end, all they can really do is abbreviate the story. Badly. The series itself is still something to check out, and I'll more than likely talk about it later here on Anime Abandoned. But the movie... It's best left well enough alone, if you ask me. But this isn't the review that most of you were expecting, was it? I kinda led you guys on last time, and, well, I'm not one to leave you all hanging in the wind. Mostly. Till next time.